Okay, I think we can now get to the final part of the conference. I think, first of all, we must thank all the speakers and the panelists to take us through the whole day. It's a very packed event. So I'm not trying to summarize what we have discussed today because it's a very extensive topics. But what I would like to do in the next 10 minutes trying to conclude this conference is to going back to what the Chris Hui, FSTB, and Clement CEOs talking about the policies, the insurance developments. I think that's a big summary of what we have achieved. I think, first of all, on that policy statements, the first part is talking about what you guys, the insurance companies, helping the industry and us to do in the last 10 years and all the achievements that we have go together. And the second part is talking about what's the enablers, right? And how we think these 4 enablers talk about the connectivity, the data, technology, and talents. What these would help us to grow even faster. But I think the enablers is not just about the insurance industry itself. It's actually about all of us, all the Hong Kong needs to do to make it even better. Maybe I first touch on the connectivity. Traditionally, Hong Kong is getting the role as being the great connector. I mean, after the Second World War, we've been the one who tried to help China getting all the supplies, the trade with the rest of the world, and we're doing great. And then comes when China go into the WTO, and we're the one who helps to do the globalizations. In the globalizations, is a lot of connecting points, so we're also doing well. But recently, the globalization word is being dumped in the trash. No one will talk about it. We talk about the separations, the deglobalizations. But then what the China is doing is talk about the dual circulation strategy. If I look at it, it's great, because when you talk about the dual circulations strategy, we talk about 2 big circles. Okay, one is the domestic, and the other one is the global. And this circle needs to meet at 1 point, or best 2 points. So when the 2 big circles meet at 1 point, so where's the point to meet? That's Hong Kong. So we are playing the role of meeting the 2 big circles. And what's our role in Hong Kong? I think one thing needs to be important to think about, what we can serve China the best. We need to understand how they operate. We need to understand what is the most important to them. I think to summarize it is 3 points. First of all, whatever we do, we need to look at China strategic development policies. What's the aim? You look at the 5-year plan, what they really want to do, what the leaders want to achieve. That's the most important thing. And the second is about mutual benefit. Financial Secretary Paul Chan has already said, it's not something which is benefit us, it's something which benefits both of us. What's mutual benefit to them as well? And finally, you always talk about risk control. What is downside risk? How we can protect China? And these are 3 key areas that we need to look at. So what are the opportunities arising from all this? I could like to go back to some of the statistics that the Chief Risk Officer of CBIRC talked about. Very interesting. When I listened to his speech, he has given 2 numbers. One, when you talk about cross-border insurance, he's talking about 6,455 and gross premium of 7 million. You think about this number, it's probably about 2 days traffic of the Lo Wu border point. And this number is probably an hour traffic before pandemic in Lo Wu. Okay, so when you open back the border, that opportunity is huge. The other statistics you talk about is the critical health insurance policy. It's only about 110,000 and about 700 million premium. But think about GBA. GBA, we talk about 89 million of people. So that number will give you a huge opportunity to grow. And also think about what Li Keqiang has said recently about how China is planning for the new products for the old age. We haven't been in China for 3 years, right? It's a big change in Hong Kong. I'm sure it's a huge change in China as well. So when we talk about connectivity, we need to connect, and how to connect is actually going in to understand them, what they have changed and what we have changed. Without knowing them, what they have changed, we can't serve them. So when the quarantine has changed recently from 7 days, 3 + 4, and 0 + 3, a lot of you are actually planning to go to Japan, Thailand. I'm actually thinking about going to China. Really. We have to go back to China to talk to them, to listen to them, to understand what they need. And we have to prepare ourselves. So what sort of thing we need to prepare? It's the data. Clement?
Okay, now we have about 4 minutes. The chairman has given a very good overview of things, and he also talked about connectivity. I will share some, responsibility by talking about data and technology, and I would like to do it just to make sure that I connect with the last panel, because I'm very grateful that Christine is coming, because I haven't seen Christine for quite a few years. I'm very glad that she actually graced us for this occasion. Thank you, Christine. I didn't get to say hello earlier. But data and technology are crucial. I think we talk a lot about it, and there's no area better than climate change to talk about it. We need data because we need data to be reliable, to be comparable, and so that it can be used for disclosure and for other purposes so that we can assess and manage the risks. Now, but data is not something which we can treat with isolation. In terms of the industry, we have in fact made contributions in the context of the CASG, the Cross-Agency Steering Group. We participated in, well, we are participating in one of the work streams, and we actually contributed data into the Green and Sustainable Finance Data Source Repository, which is in fact a common source platform, which I think Ericsson talked about, so that insurers, insured, and academia, and also other commercial sectors can put data in there. Even government departments can contribute. And this is an area where we are working, and I think we can do a lot more. But ultimately, as I said, data shouldn't be treated in isolation, because ultimately data have to be fed into models. Models will then be able to churn out more realistic kind of preventive or mitigating actions. And a model itself, again, will have to go through different tests so that it doesn't give out false signals. So data technology goes hand in hand. They have to be tackled separately, but they have to work together in order to, for us to apply it towards climate actions. Now, that's a lot that I've said about data. But of course, data, funny enough, also goes into the other two enabling factors, which I think connectivity, Stephen talked about. And we discussed a lot about talents in terms of connectivity, because just now earlier we talked about talents, about attracting talents, but all the more important, the FS talked about upward mobility of training and powering our existing local talents. We discussed with Stephen also is about how to, rather than extracting from abroad, trying to get talents from the mainland. Now, I think all the tertiary institutions in Hong Kong already have plans or already have facility operating in the GBA. So it's quite natural for us to use that particular network to source talents. So connectivity, if we look at it in another sense, also contribute towards talents. So this is something which is, again, very important. And finally, if we look at GBA, we normally look at GBA as a market. But I always tell people that GBA actually is a pool of data. So we look at GBA, no matter it's geographically speaking, no matter its population, it provides a very rich data pool. So whatever we have here, if we expand it by about 8 times, is actually what we have in the GBA. So if we utilize GBA correctly, through connectivity, we can also always provide more talents and more data into our own processing. So I think this is, Stephen, I want to say in terms of data and technology. Of course, the last one is to do with talents, which I alluded to. Maybe you can talk in terms of the HAUST perspective about whether my kind of conjecture is actually correct in terms of getting talents in Hong Kong.
I think I just want to echo what you said. I mean, when you talk about the urban mobility, funny enough, if you think about back to 2015 to 18, 19, the complaint was for the younger generation is urban mobility, right? But do you hear the same word again now? Probably not, because there are 140,000 people emigrating out from Hong Kong. So everyone is needing to replenish the talent. And IA is not immune. We have about 18% turnover. A lot of them actually poached by you guys. I'm not complaining. I think if we are able to train good guys and give it to you, I'm more than happy to do so. And for other organizations that work with the exchange, the MA, USD, et cetera, is a huge issue on talent. But on the other hand, I think I'm optimistic because we actually give opportunities to younger generations. Take HAUSD, for example. I mean, we just opened the Guangzhou campus in Nansha. It's a huge campus. It's as big as what we have in Clearwater Bay. And to start with, we have the sort of the bachelor degree will later, with the master and the doctor degree. And for all others Hong Kong universities, they either have it already and they're going to build it. And they're building quick. I mean, HAUSD, for example, we finished in 5 years, imagine, for a piece of rural land into universities, world class. So I'm sure that we will have that manpower ready to supply us. But on manpower, I would like you to look at even further, because in the past, our traditional venue is probably US and Europe, okay? I don't think you can get any from the US right now. Any Americans here? No? Yeah, okay. But I think there's a lot more chance, given what the economy is doing, we get a lot more chance from Europe to come and join us. But I think the most important part is actually Asia. Look at around Asia. You hear today a lot of opportunities from Philippines, Malaysia, Indonesia, a lot of talent in different areas. These are the people that we need to engage them. We have here a beautiful city. We have 4 seasons, okay? Spring, winter, summer, and autumn. We have beautiful park. 40% of landscape are park. And we have a lot of good schools. So I'm already hearing a lot of people actually coming back from our neighbors to here because we have a very attractive city. So I think all this together, I believe, will be stronger than before. So I think we have to close it.
Okay, now we are overrun by 4 minutes. So just to prove to you that this concluding session is not a session to prove that me and Stephen didn't sleep through the sessions, but there's a bit more. Now, our team has come up with a pretty, I think, a pretty good and sort of, shall I say, a theme of wisdom. So we have a lot of R's. So it's like reflect, reset, and revive for a resilient future. If you guys have been with us in the last couple of years, you can see that we actually have a lot of new elements in this year's program. So why do we do it? I give you a couple more R's. In fact, we took a lot of risk to revamp. You know why? Because we are responding to your requests. And why do we have to do it? Because we want to make sure that you'll return for a rewarding and refreshing program again next year. So thank you very much.
Thank you.